Welcome to our Wednesday morning devotional online with River City Church. My name is Pastor Rick, and I just had a couple things I'm going to share with you guys the next couple of weeks. When we look around today, wow, we're seeing all kinds of things taking place in our world and things that are out of our control. And sometimes I don't know about you, but for me, I wake up and it's like, really, God? It looks like the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Now, I know that's not true because I know that God is still in control and Jesus still holds the title deed to earth. But boy, I'll tell you, sometimes when you look around our circumstances, we can get caught in the whirlwind of what's going on in our world today. So today I want to talk about the power of our words. Words have so much power. You know that the Lord spoke everything into existence, and the Lord gives us a mouth to speak with, and He wants us to use that to build people up. But right now, I see a lot of tearing down going on right now. So today I want to share a word that comes out of Colossians 4, 5, 6. Paul's encouraging the Colossians here. He says, "Be wise in the way we act towards outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversations always be filled with grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone." Wow. I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like God's word can be like an impossible order. Have you ever felt like that? That sometimes when you're reading the word, you're just saying, "Really, God? You expect me to do that?" But Paul is exhorting the Colossians here and hit our attitudes towards unbelievers. Boy, if we need to take a check on that today, because but the one thing I want to point out here is, did you catch what Paul was saying about our conversations? Our conversations are to be full of grace, not partial grace, not halfway grace, but all the way grace. I don't know if you've ever tried this, but it's pretty hard, especially when that person at work or your boss gets on your last nerve, or your spouse wounds you, or someone that you have put your trust and confidence in has broken that trust. How about, you're just getting off work and it's 102 out and you're trying to get home to that air conditioner house of yours and somebody cuts you off in the road. How do you respond to that? But one thing I have seen and I've been watching is that it's incredibly hard when people share their thoughts and their opinions so freely and carelessly on social media. Wow. It grieves my heart, to be honest with you. I see Christians not responding in a godly manner when it comes to social media. And we have to be careful on the way we approach social media and the way we approach how we speak. I don't know about you, but words laced with grace aren't typically the first ones that come to mind when somebody is attacking me, okay? That's not what comes to my mind. First, I want to chest bump them and I want to defend myself and I want to kind of like give them my point of view. I mean, I'm sure there's been days you probably have felt like that. But just because speaking with grace is hard, that doesn't mean it's impossible. And Paul reminds us here that our words matter. It's really easy to have loose lips today. I mean, when you look around, it's easy to fly off the handle and speak your mind about this, about that. But Paul really is telling us that our conversations have to be full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that we may know how to answer everyone. Loved ones, we have to be careful of the way we speak. And Paul specifically wants us to consider our words in light of unbelievers, telling us again in Colossians, that in light of who we are, in light of unbelievers, we have to be people that are filled with grace and seasoned with salt when it comes to our speech. And but as Christians, we're called to share the truth. But we don't sideline the truth, or we don't water it down, or we don't nullify the truth. We have to share the truth, but it needs to be grace-filled words. It has to be, because whether you realize it or not, and I know this to be true in my own life, there are people that are watching you and are listening to the way you talk and the way you interact with them. Love is always bigger than truth, loved ones. It always is. Love is always bigger than truth. Sometimes you just need to love the person where they're at before you can share a hard truth with them. Let God temper you in the way you approach unbelievers. John tells us that Jesus was full of grace and truth. Whoa. I look at that and I go, man, there's some tension in that. Because for me, I kind of lean on being in your face kind of truth guy and not do it with much grace. But then there's other people that want to give you more grace and nullify the truth. But Jesus, look at the tension between, he was full of grace and he was full of truth. There was a tension in that, but he knew how to balance that beautifully, and he illustrates that for us beautifully with the adulterous woman. That adulterous woman, she was in her bed sleeping. The religious leaders and the Pharisees, they grabbed her, yanked her out of bed. They drug her in front of the crowds. It was just humiliating this woman to the max. Drug her in front of Jesus and said, Jesus, this woman was caught in an act of adultery. Should we not stone her? Jesus didn't skip a beat. He just looked at him, didn't even respond. He stooped down and he started writing. Now, there's a lot of speculation on what Jesus said, but the bottom line is they all started dropping their rocks. They all started walking away, and at the end, she was the only one standing there. Jesus asked the question, "Where are your accusers?" And she said, "I have none." And Jesus responded, "I don't accuse you either. Go and sin no more." Wow. Just the right amount of truth with the right amount of grace. I'd like to think what Jesus wrote in that sand that day was maybe something like, grace starts here. Boom. So let's ask God to help us so we can speak with honor in the midst of dishonor, so we can share hope in the midst of uncertainty, and we can speak good things in the midst of bad situations. So today, let's choose words that won't leave the bitter taste of regret in our mouths. Words seasoned with salt of wisdom and full of grace of Jesus. Have a great day, everybody.